What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down why next week is going to be absolutely massive for Tesla and the markets, as we have massive earnings coming out. We have FOMC and other factors like that, and how all of this could affect Tesla, as we're going to be looking at some new developments. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details in this very quick update video, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with the markets. I just want to mention that Tesla's actually holding up decently overall. I know that it took a very big hit yesterday. We're still trying to hold 180. Now, I mentioned yesterday that if Tesla holds 180, expect this thing to try to see some kind of rebound. We might see some buyers try to defend it from there. We saw a very small rebound. We saw Tesla actually get back up to 187 before it came back down and traded sideways and managed to close a little bit in the green. This is what the trading day basically looked like on the hourly time frame. A little pump upon open. We actually got this nice little rejection at 187. This is where we had the resistance kind of like highlighted. It was very close to that. Then we came back down to our support, 182.5, came back up to test the resistance up here. And now we're kind of just stuck right now. Tesla's still a little bit green in the after hours, still barely holding up. But the question is, what's going to affect Tesla going into the upcoming trading week? What are some very important catalysts? Let me first say that for Monday, January 29th, there's not really much coming out. Same thing on Tuesday. We do have some JOLTS job openings. That's going to be a little bit important, but this is going to be in preparation for what the Fed is about to do. The Fed is going to continue to monitor the situation because on Wednesday, January 31st, and don't forget, January 31st is going to be the last trading day of the month. It's also going to be the last day of the month in general. We have a very important day because at 11:30 a.m., we have the FOMC meeting going on. We're going to have Jerome Powell giving a speech. That is going to be very important. Now, whatever Jerome Powell ends up saying is going to shake the markets. We will see what he says about monetary policy, his views about what the Fed is doing, and other factors like that. It's going to be very important. Make sure you watch that very carefully. Jerome Powell could also cause the market to pump. He could even cause the market to get a rug pull. We will have to wait and see. One thing I can tell you with high certainty is that there's a very high probability the Fed is going to skip on the rate hike. They're not going to cut in January. I don't think we're ready for a cut yet. It's very, very unlikely. The market knows this. So don't expect them to change anything. I don't see them giving us another rate hike either, especially because of the fact that CPI was close to expectations, but a little bit hot. So core CPI was as expected, but then CPI was a little hot. And then for PCE, everything was aligned with expectations. So there's no reason for them to raise rates, no reason for them to cut yet, I would say. I think we're going to most likely see them just keep everything the same. This is what the market is expecting. And then we're going to find out what the Fed is projecting. That's going to be very important for the markets. Powell's speech is going to be very important. Okay, that's the first main catalyst for the markets. What's the second one? It's this one. For Monday, we have SoFi's earnings and a bunch of banks, which is kind of minor, not that crazy. But Tuesday and Thursday are going to be crazy, crazy days. In fact, I would say Tuesday through Thursday are once again crazy days. Let me explain why. So for Tuesday, all right, we basically will have Pfizer announcing earnings, GM, and UPS in the morning. And then in the afternoon, after market close, we have Microsoft, AMD, and Alphabet. Microsoft is going to be the most important one, in my opinion, because it's the biggest company of them all on that specific day. Not to mention the fact that their guidance will have a massive effect on tech. So watch that very carefully on Tuesday. Okay, Microsoft is going to be a big one. I'm going to be watching that specifically. For Wednesday, before the market opens on Wednesday, we have Boeing. Then we also have MasterCard announcing their earnings. Then after the market closes, we have very minor ones, but this is all going to be minor because, and I think the reason why they're not having the big tech earnings on Wednesday, it possibly could be because of FOMC. They know the FOMC meeting is going to make up the main effect on the markets. It's going to affect other people out there. So they're just going to keep the days separate. So for Wednesday, there's some earnings. Then we have the FOMC meeting. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech. It's going to be crazy on Wednesday. Okay. And then Thursday comes, the market's going to likely still be reacting to what Jerome Powell says. Then we have Apple, Amazon, and Meta, the three giants, announcing earnings at a very similar time period. It's all going to be after market close. This is going to shake the markets, especially after market close and especially on Friday. So Tuesday through Friday, it's going to be madness for the markets in preparation of these big earnings. Market's going to go crazy. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Wednesday. We have the FOMC meeting. It is going to be a wild, crazy week. And I can't wait to see what's going to cause. All right. It's going to be very important. Now, please be warned. Please be warned. The market is at the fear and greed index is at extreme greed right now. The market is very overbought. Could the market push a little bit more? It's still a possibility, but I don't think the market's going to explode. And I'll put it this way: I wouldn't necessarily be buying and buying and buying, going long on the S&P 500 at these high levels. Not financial advice. I'm not really doing that, so I'm going to be very careful of anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the TA very simple just for this video. I just want to make this kind of quick since it's a Friday. I'll be talking in more detail a bit later. So from this point on, guys, how would I dissect Tesla? Excuse me, guys. I would say this. Basically, Tesla is attempting to hold up. We're going to be watching the market because SPY and the QQQ are showing some weakness, and this could actually slow Tesla down a bit, so you want to be very careful. I think that when you look at Tesla on the 4-hour, it's about to get a bullish crossover. There's potential for it to push back up to about 185, maybe 186 again. But you have to be a little bit careful because the market might drag it down. So a little pop and drop like move is a possibility. It might not run insanely hard. It could attempt to run, but then the market could get in the way. You want to be very careful. Okay. Apple to me looks kind of bearish. I could show you why. If I switch over to like something else like TradingView, I can actually show you. So if you look at Tesla right here, it could try to push a little higher, then it could basically reject because of the markets. You want to be watching this resistance up here. But going back to Apple, I was going to say that Apple has a head and shoulders, and there's likely going to be more downside coming. So if you look back at the chart here, we have this left shoulder, we have a head, and we have a right shoulder forming, and this thing has been sinking. It's going to likely bounce on Monday and continue a little bit lower to finish filling this gap down here. So you want to be very careful with Apple. It does look a little bit bearish, so be very careful right now. That could slow things down a bit more. On SPY is starting to turn just a little bit, but we're going to be watching to see if this thing loses 486. If we do lose that, close below that, we could favor the bears a little bit more. So you want to be very, very careful. Here's the problem with SPY that I'm seeing. There's actually a small issue like right here, and that is when you look at the daily time frame, SPY is a little bit, in my opinion, indecisive. So if you look at, let me just pull up the daily. The daily has a doji basically. It's a little bit indecisive on its daily charts. So we're going to be watching to see how that ends up developing as time goes on. So like right here, you guys can see the daily charts. Got this doji. Be very careful when looking at this. Could this turn from there? We have something very similar on the QQQ. The QQQ is starting to show some weakness on the daily. This could also slow down, so be a little bit careful here as well. I'll talk more about this later on, but it's showing a little bit of weakness. Be careful. Nvda does not look like it's going to just collapse. It might actually pop again, try to fill some of its gaps above, and then we might end up seeing Nvidia essentially just end up filling this gap and coming back down. But with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.